Well, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. I hope you all had a good holiday and especially a good Christmas. It was a little challenging this year with a worldwide pandemic, but Santa, with the help of his good friend Jeff Bezos, was able to get everything delivered, and that all went off without a hitch. So we're very, very grateful about that. Now, there are a lot of myths and legends and stories around my husband, jolly old sainted Nick, but not so many about me. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about me and my story. Long, long, long ago, when I was a young woman of about 18 years, I worked in my father's store. Now, my father had a store that was, for want of a better term, a general store, and we sold notions and buttons and thread and lace and needles and yarn and all sorts of things, in addition to linens and toys and sleds and all sorts of things that we sold in the store. It was, as I said, it was something of a general store. Well, one morning in December, one cold, crisp morning in December, I was taking inventory, counting those notions, when a very tall, very handsome young man came in the shop. His eyes were twinkling. He had the most adorable dimples. His cheeks were all rosy, and his nose was a frozen cherry. I have to admit, I was Twitter-pated. It was a magical moment. Well, at least for me anyway. He took out his list and he cleared his throat and he said, Johnny wants a pair of skates, and Susie wants a dolly. Nellie wants a storybook. She thinks dolls are folly. Ho, 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 ho. Well, you should have heard this wonderful, luminous laugh that he had. It was very infectious. Well, my heart sank. Here he was ordering, buying toys for children. Well, I figured they must be his children, of course. So my heart sank. And that list went on and on and on. And I was absolutely amazed. But I gathered up everything, and boy, did they make a huge pile in front of our small little counter. And as I was tallying up the purchases, he told me that his name was Nick, and he was very impressed with my efficiency. I blushed. I could feel the heat rising all the way up my neck to my red hair. He complimented me, and I was Twitter-pated. So he told me that his name is Nicholas, and I had no idea what we were going to do with all these things that he had purchased, how he was going to get them back to wherever he was going, because I had never seen this young man before. So he says, well, I'll just put those in my bag. And he runs out of the store, and he was gone a nonce and a half at the outset. And he came back with this rather large bag. Well, I didn't think everything was going to fit, but lo and behold, it did. He slung that bag across his back, and he looked like a peddler with a pack on his back. He went out the front door, and what to my wondering eyes should appear but a sleigh with 8 small reindeer. This was no ordinary man. Well, I didn't see Nick again until after the new year in January sometime. And then he came in and he ordered all kinds of very interesting things in very large quantities. He ordered buttons and yarn and lace and ribbons and glue and nails, and he bought a couple of hammers. He bought so many things. And he would take everything and he'd be back. This happened over and over again, about once every 2 weeks. Well, I was really looking forward to his visits because I just was Twitter-pated, as I mentioned. And so when he would come in, I would serve him homemade cookies, courtesy of me, and hot chocolate to keep him staying there and talking with me a bit longer in each visit. And he told me that my baking was the best he had ever tasted. Well, that did it for me. Now I had to outdo myself. I was competing with myself. Every week I tried something different and something new. So one week when he came in, I screwed my courage to the sticking place and I asked him, "What in the world are you doing with all of these things that you're buying? And you come in every couple of weeks and you buy these massive quantities." Well, that's when he told me he had a workshop. He told me that he and his helpers, his staff, made toys that he delivered to good little girls and boys every Christmas. Last year, he told me that his helpers were ill with the flu. And so he came to my father's store to get some of the, get some of the things to do the gift delivering. Wow, was I impressed. And I thought often about his kind soul and his giving spirit and his generosity, especially around Christmas time. And I thought, wow, this is really the true spirit of Christmas, the giving selflessly. And of course, I thought about those twinkling blue eyes and those adorable little dimples. And I decided, well, I'm going to make him a gift. He told me that he was out at night and it was cold. So I decided I was going to make him a suit to keep him warm when he was out in his sleigh. So I selected the best fabric, the warmest fabric, and I made a suit, a jacket, and some warm pants. And I lined the cuffs with fur, and there was a fur collar, and there was fur going all the way down. It was white fur. And I also made a stocking cap, which was the fashion, and I put white fur around there. And then I found this perfect black belt that matched his coal-colored boots. I was so excited. Well, Mother and Father had given me their permission to invite Nick over to our home for Christmas Eve dinner. Well, I was bursting with excitement the next time he came in, and I invited him over. And alas, he said no. I was crestfallen. And said, "Okay, I thought our relationship was getting deeper and I wanted you to meet my parents." And he said, "Our relationship is getting deeper and I do want to meet your parents." He said, "I'd like to take you on a sleigh ride." So we came over on Christmas Eve evening. He said, "Christmas Eve is the busiest day for me." He came over and I was bursting with excitement. We were sitting by the fire watching the chestnuts pop, 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 pop. I said, "Open my gift." I was so excited. He opened it and said, "Oh my goodness, this is a fine suit. This is. I will wear it tonight." And it is a lovely color. It was bright red. So he put it on and miraculously, wouldn't you know it, it fit perfectly. So he whisked me away to his sleigh and he tucked me in a warm fur blanket. And he called out on Dasher, on Dancer, on Prancer, and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner, and Blitzen. And that team took off like no team had before. We were flying more rapid than eagles. We were dashing through the snow with sleigh bells were tingling, ting, ting, tingling too. Pretty soon, we were actually flying in the air. I kid you not. And at great speed, let me tell you. Nick handed me his list and I checked it twice. And then he delivered all the gifts for little boys and girls who were nice. At the end of the night, Nick's new suit was all tarnished with ashes and soot. And there was one small box gift left in his pack. And he gave it to me with a marriage proposal. And as my name is Mrs. Santa Claus, I said yes. It was a magical night. And I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night."